Society tells us that lonely people are simply individuals who fail to make new friends. We always picture someone sitting alone in a dark room, desperately wishing for any connection. But the most profound type of human loneliness usually happens in the middle of crowds. You can be surrounded by many smiling faces and still feel entirely invisible to everyone. You smile back at them while your nervous system silently begs you to go home. This specific feeling is not a social failure or a weird defect in your personality. Psychologists understand that this chronic isolation often stems from a deep need for authentic safety. You do not lack the basic ability to converse with people at a loud party. You simply lack the energy to perform a character that does not feel completely real. Every superficial conversation drains your internal battery because your brain is processing too much information. When you walk into a crowded room, you're not just seeing faces and bodies. Your highly sensitive mind is actively analyzing every micro-expression and every subtle voice tone. You notice when someone is secretly annoyed even though they are smiling very brightly outside. You feel the hidden tension between two friends who are pretending everything is perfectly fine. This hyper-awareness is incredibly exhausting, and it forces your nervous system into survival mode. Your brain detects all these subtle social dynamics as a potential threat to your peace. Therefore, your biological response is to slowly withdraw from the group to protect your energy. People might label you as quiet or shy, but they truly misunderstand your internal reality. You are actually overwhelmed by the massive amount of emotional data you are constantly receiving. This is exactly why spending 2 hours at a social event requires 3 days alone. You need that absolute silence to reset your highly stimulated emotional and psychological processing centers. But where did you develop this intense ability to deeply read every single social room? For many deeply lonely adults, this unique pattern began during a highly unpredictable childhood environment. You probably grew up in a house where you had to monitor every emotional shift. You learned to perfectly predict the mood of your parents before they even said anything. This intense childhood vigilance taught you that human connection always comes with a heavy price. You realized very early that keeping yourself safe meant maintaining a careful distance from others. Now, your adult brain automatically applies that old survival blueprint to every new social interaction. You deeply crave genuine intimacy, but your nervous system fundamentally fears the vulnerability it requires. This creates a painful paradox where you desperately want love but actively push people away. You sit in your quiet room feeling incredibly lonely, yet canceling plans brings massive relief. That wave of relief is your nervous system thanking you for choosing safety over exhaustion. Many researchers explain that chronic loneliness is often a protective mismatch in our modern world. You are using ancient survival mechanisms to navigate very complex and relatively safe social situations. People who do not understand this will often tell you to simply try reaching out. They confidently suggest that you should join more clubs or attend more local community events. They completely miss the point because being around more people does not cure this isolation. Throwing a lonely person into a massive crowd is like giving salt water to someone. It might temporarily look like a good solution, but it ultimately makes the thirst worse. What you actually need is not a higher quantity of casual friends or social acquaintances. You need a rare type of connection where your nervous system can finally completely relax. You are intensely waiting for someone who does not require you to constantly perform happiness. Until you find that specific person, you instinctively choose the absolute safety of your solitude. Choosing to stay alone is infinitely better than feeling completely alienated inside a wrong relationship. The world often shames people who spend their Friday nights sitting alone in their apartments. Social media constantly bombards you with bright images of large groups having seemingly perfect times. These digital illusions are meticulously designed to make you feel completely broken and hopelessly isolated. But you must firmly remember that those curated images rarely show true and profound intimacy. Real connection happens in quiet moments, not in highly filtered photographs taken at loud parties. Your current loneliness is actually a powerful filter protecting you from settling for shallow interactions. You have subconsciously decided that you would rather be physically alone than emotionally deeply misunderstood. This firm boundary requires a tremendous amount of quiet courage that society rarely ever acknowledges. You are actively preserving your authentic energy for someone who will truly understand your depths. Some days will inevitably feel much harder and darker than the peaceful days you prefer. You will look at your silent phone and wonder if anyone is thinking about you. During those heavy moments, your inner critic will try to convince you that you failed. Your anxious mind will whisper that you are destined to remain completely isolated forever now. When those dark thoughts arise, you must gently remind yourself of the actual psychological truth. You are never defective because you are simply navigating reality with a highly calibrated mind. Your standards for authentic emotional connection are significantly higher than the average person can meet. It takes a very long time to find people who can match your deep frequency. Finding your true tribe is a complex marathon, not a quick sprint towards casual friendships. While you are patiently waiting for them, your current solitude is serving a vital purpose. This quiet time is allowing you to deeply heal those old childhood wounds of hypervigilance. You are slowly learning how to become a safe and comforting space for your mind. You are building a strong internal sanctuary that nobody can ever easily tear down again. The pain of loneliness eventually transforms into the profound peace of knowing your own soul. You begin to discover creative passions and quiet hobbies that bring you immense personal joy. You learn to deeply appreciate the gentle sound of rain without needing another human voice. You finally realize that your own company is actually quite interesting and wonderfully deeply soothing. Once you reach this stage of inner acceptance, everything about your social life changes. You no longer enter crowded rooms feeling desperate for someone to simply notice your presence. You walk into those spaces knowing exactly who you are and what you truly need. If the energy in the room feels wrong, you confidently leave without any lingering guilt. You protect your peace with the absolute ferocity of someone who knows its extreme value. This incredible shift in your personal energy will eventually attract the right kind of people. Authentic humans are naturally drawn to those who are completely comfortable in their own silence. They will see your calm demeanor and immediately recognize a safe harbor for themselves too. When these rare connections finally happen, they will not feel draining or forced or exhausting. They will feel exactly like breathing fresh air after being trapped inside a small box. You will be able to sit next to them in absolute silence without feeling anxious. Your highly sensitive nervous system will not trigger any false alarms when they are near. This is the ultimate reward for enduring those long years of feeling completely alone. You preserved your amazing spirit instead of breaking it apart to fit into shallow molds. So if you are listening to this alone in your room late in the night, I strongly need you to take a deep breath and completely release your heavy shame. There is absolutely nothing fundamentally wrong with how your beautiful brain is processing social connections. You are currently traversing a very necessary chapter of profound self-discovery and deep healing. Do not let a loud and superficial society convince you that your quietness is wrong. Your profound ability to feel everything deeply is actually your greatest and most beautiful strength. It is completely okay to selectively choose your peace over the exhausting noise of crowds. It is perfectly fine to spend your weekend reading a book instead of attending parties. Your lonely season is not a permanent life sentence of endless suffering and dark sorrow. It is merely a temporary bridge leading you towards much more authentic and healthier relationships. Keep your boundaries incredibly strong and never apologize for protecting your precious emotional energy reserves. The right people will eventually arrive, and they will deeply love your carefully guarded soul. Until that exact moment comes, continue to treat yourself with radical compassion and endless grace. You are successfully surviving a silent internal battle that most people could never truly understand. Be extremely proud of the quiet sanctuary you have carefully built within your own mind. You are not broken or weird.